Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United. Joining me this evening is Carly Sunshine. How you doing, Carly?
I am well. So excited to be here.
Super. First thing I'm going to do is give you a massive compliment because your game has definitely gone up a notch in the last maybe month or two. You've just seemed to be excelling in flat Earth material. So what's the deal? How come you've got better without sounding too rude?
Um, I think every day I get more brave. Uh, I call it finding my brave. I actually struggle in real life with anxiety, and I have for a very long time. But one thing that Flat Earth has helped me with, and this has been since February of 2015, is that with each obstacle and the more I learn, the more I want to step forward, take on more responsibility, and try to share more truth. And my skin gets thicker and I feel more brave. So I'm just constantly trying to step out there just a little bit more. Um, and I feel like this is something I've been preparing for all my life. And especially with this conference coming up here in November, I need to just continuously try to become more courageous because that's going to be, a situation where we're on stage, and I want to just keep getting myself used to putting myself out there and finding my brave. So I think maybe that's just it. Every day I try a little harder.
We talk about finding your brave. You found your way to the flat Earth sign. It's like 6 hour drive, and you was it 6 hours? Did you say?
Well, it was like a 6 hour trip. I live in South Central Pennsylvania, and that first billboard that was crowdfunded went up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is about 147 miles from where I live. And it took me just under 3 hours to get there. And I just kind of figured I'm pretty adventurous, and uh, I even wanted to do it by myself because it was a thrill, it was an experience, and I wanted to also document it because that I felt like the experience to me was going to motivate me, encourage me that, look what a bunch of us did pulling together. Look what we created that shared the flat earth truth. Um, and I wanted to be able to document that to share it with other people because I felt like that would motivate others as well. And it turned out it really has. I mean, it's really been um, a wonderful catalyst for a lot of people that are starting to question now, the shape of the earth. It was
Did,
exciting.
did you picture it would be with that cheesy photo with you sort of holding up the sign though? Because that's got used to death, hasn't it? I mean, it's a great photo.
I know, I know. It kind of went a little bit viral. Well, when I first when I first got there, I mean, I was trying to get all different kinds of angles. I was trying to videotape coming up on the billboard as I was driving to it, which I understand wasn't probably the safest, but it was like a once in a lifetime thing. And the billboard cycles through different advertisements, so I wasn't able to get it as I was driving by, but I was able to uh, pull off the exit and stop, and I was able to get into this really sketchy, oh, my dog just came in, really sketchy part of the parking lot and uh, get some really good video. I just wanted to video log a little bit and everyone to understand what I was experiencing. Go on. And see the thrill I was getting and how exciting it was, and also get some still shots because people were saying that this wasn't real, that it was just CGI. So I was trying to do it from a lot of different angles, I'm a very enthusiastic person. I get very excited, things like that, and I really wanted to capture that on camera, and I'm sure I did. And sometimes I know I probably sound and look goofy, but I didn't really care. That's part of putting yourself out there and being courageous and not caring. It's just a means to an end as far as sharing truth. And that picture I did with with the billboard behind me was just I don't know. I was just trying to get myself in frame and point it out, and that picture kind of just stuck. And I think I sent it to um, DITRH, David from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and I think I sent it to Mark Sargent, and it just went like all over the place before I even got home.
I mean, what did you actually think of the words on the sign? Because they've come under a bit of scrutiny, and personally, I think they're excellent. Saying that it's going to lead people to the controlled opposition, I just go, nah. You know, it's a hard hitting statement. The two words together, flat Earth, are very hard hitting.
Right.
So
Right.
research flat Earth to me encompasses it all, and to look at it in a way that says it's going to take you to the controlled opposition is kind of naysaying to the nth degree, really, isn't it?
I totally agree. When I started this, there was no billboard. There wasn't the perfect statement. It just happened to be something, synchronized, something that I saw, and it sparked my interest. Um, I think some people have issues with realizing how easily you can plant a seed. And I think the billboard saying research flat earth was absolutely perfect. It doesn't matter what it would have said. It could have said the nicest, most perfect thing, and someone would have made fun of it. Someone would have naysayed it. But for as long as I've been researching the flat earth and also working in Facebook groups and working in YouTube now, um, I've noticed and heard many, many different stories and testimonies that it honestly does not matter the avenue of how someone has a seed planted as far as researching flat earth. I've literally had people come up to me in my groups and say, you know what, I heard President Obama say we do not have time for the flat earth society, and they looked into it because of that. But there will be hundreds of people that will say that was put out there as a psyop, that was said because it was controlled opposition. It's absolute ridiculous. So I'm an optimist and I'm a pretty positive person. So I think it doesn't matter if you're out there planting the seed and it's getting exposure. People are going to they're going to look into it. People that aren't ready, they won't. People that are ready, it planted a seed.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's always going to have a certain degree of naysaying, no matter what goes up on those billboards. And I've seen Dearth's renderings, and they've got quite a lot more information on. And immediately you think, I should go and tell him it's got too much on. But then you think, no, that makes me just as bad as everybody else. Who cares?
Yeah.
There's going to be content,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter what part of it. The idea of them being up for a month or so is that it's almost subliminal. You'll pass it and you won't necessarily read it. You'll catch it out the corner of your eye. But what you catch is ultimately going to be flat Earth related, and that's kind of all that matters. So, yeah, I mean, how was the trip down? I mean, you say 6 hours. Was it easy? Was it...
I mean, it was fun. It was like an adrenaline high the whole way. I mean, I'm not afraid to take long trips like that. I've taken trips where I live. I go from South Central Pennsylvania to Northern Pennsylvania. It's almost New York. Like every couple months, I take a trip to go see friends up there. And I know this sounds silly, but there's a wild elk herd in Pennsylvania that I also go up and I photograph. And I've been known to just take a day. It's 4 hours up there, drive around all day, take photos of elk, and then drive home in one day because it's just an adventure. So to me, this was totally worth it. All I have is my cell phone. So I wanted to, document as well as I could. I got a little hands-free, phone holder that suction cups to my windshield, and I was able to just narrate and talk into that. And then, of course, when I got there, just do a couple little video logs and take photos. And then when I got home around, I think it was midnight or 12:30, and I was too excited to go to sleep, so I just edited all the video and the pictures together and threw out a video quick because I wanted to be able to share it with everyone. So the trip wasn't that bad.
It seems weird, but only in flat Earth could you have a conversation where it's like, yeah, I went down to see that road sign. I'm really pumped. Couldn't sleep afterwards. Only in flat Earth.
I know. I thought about that. I was like, so I'm sure people do think. I mean, and they said it on my video. You're a nutcase. You're crazy. But you know what? Everyone should have that kind of passion.
It's gonna resonate with so many people on a conscious and unconscious level. So for me, obviously, it's a very conscious thing. I see you standing there, and I immediately want to edit the photo and do things with it. That's what I see in it because I'm aware of what's going on. But for all those people who drove past that might see it in their suggestions and not ignore it as a consequence, I don't know, it's got to be tens of thousands of people that have gone past that sign, if not more. Have you got any clue how many people actually saw it?
There was a number that it was in the 100,000s, I think, that people that were going to be driving by there because it was up for 7 days, but I honestly don't remember the exact number, but it's very close to the Philadelphia airport. So I mean, the traffic is outstanding right there. Um, and it, I think everyone, what I was going to say earlier, I think everyone should have that kind of passion, especially when you feel strongly about something. You know, it's a road sign, like you said, it's a billboard, but it's those words, you know, it's the symbolism, it's all those people that it's reaching. And it's not just that, it was a catalyst to get media coverage, local media coverage. It was a catalyst to get a very, very excellent article done by the Philly Voice on Flat Earth. And that gentleman is continuing to follow the community and still doing articles, and will do more articles on some of the other projects that are going on. And because of that billboard, we got the attention of Mad Mike Hughes, who is going to be sending a steam-powered rocket up and breaking a record. And he's going to have the words "Research Flat Earth" on the side of his rocket and on the side of the rocket launcher, the base itself. And these are all things this is all a catalyst because of a couple people crowdfunded a billboard, you know. It was excellent advertisement, excellent exposure.
Yeah, it's definitely worth reiterating that Mad Mike got in touch off the back of that billboard. You know, there was no other reason why he got in touch. And now there are, I'm going to clarify this, 2 rocket launches that are going to take place. The first one being with a steam-powered rocket, which is more of a kind of stunt more than anything else. I mean, I think it will get publicity, but I don't necessarily think it will actually get huge amounts of publicity. But the second launch, which, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard IPS mention that it got Mad Mike, has got $100,000 suit to actually just wear to do this trip. You think, wow, this is not small potatoes, you know, because some people look at it and go, wow, we're asking for $7,000 to put a flat Earth sign. It's like, well, in the scheme of it, it's nothing.
And it's I don't know how to explain. Like, it's such a great way for advertisement. And from what I've heard, that rocket is going to be then placed in museums, and it's going to be advertised. So it doesn't just end there once he breaks a record. And people are going to question it. It's going to be in the media, and then they're going to interview him. He's going to be able to say his piece because he is a flat earther. He's a genuine rocket scientist. He makes his own rockets, you know, and he it's going to be manned, the first one. That's why it's going to be a record, this steam-powered rocket. But I think that it's going to be a snowball effect, I believe, after he sends this rocket up. No matter what how far he goes, it's just going to cause quite a lot of exposure.
Sure. I mean, you found yourself, we've mentioned him once already, which is IPS, or Infinite Plane Society. And I'm not going to accuse you of being his defender, but on the other hand, you have come to his defense on more than one occasion. So what is it specifically about IPS that's drawn you to him? Or what he's doing?
Well, first of all, I'd like to preface that with the fact that because of now my history in Flat Earth, I am a defender of many people. And if anyone's really paid attention to me and watched me now through the years, crazy to say, that I do come to the aid of others, especially fellow Flat Earthers that are being bashed, or people are talking bad about them. Before I ever knew about the Infinite Plane Society, the group that I started way back in October of 2015, it's called Flat and Happy. I know it's a silly name, but it's specifically a flat Earth group, and it's a closed group. And one of my rules in there is that you absolutely cannot make fun of or bash or disrespect, or I don't want hit pieces shared, nothing like that, on other flat earthers and other earthers, humans in general. I do not appreciate that, and I don't accept it. And now, since October of 2015, I have been involved in helping to admin over 12 Facebook groups, that's like pages, and also groups that are closed, private, or open groups, so public, all different sorts. And I try to keep the same sort of rules now. I don't own all of those, so there's other people that have a say in it. But I have been that way for years. I've also gotten involved in YouTube channels where I moderate the live chats, and I stand by the same thing. I do not appreciate, and I come to the aid of other flat earthers that are being attacked. That's not a human thing to do. That is globe earth thinking. We need to get past that. And that's like a big goal of mine, is that there's no reason for human beings to treat each other that way. So that being said, when Infinite Plane Society came onto the YouTube, I don't even know when that community first started, when that YouTube channel first started. I started getting involved in it when I saw, I'll just call him IPS, stand in front of his council in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and talked about like NASA and global warming, and he said his name was Mark Sargent. And I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and apparently so did Mark. But that really got my attention, and I was like, who is this person? Because it's not Mark. But I recognized right away why he did it. And then I helped explain to other people. It's like sometimes certain people just get things and some people don't. Sometimes people get offended very easily, and some people are very merciful or understanding and they don't get offended. And I'm one of those people that's just very understanding. So I try to help others see it that way. I understand I can't change anybody's mind. It's up to them. But I can do the same thing as the Flat Earth Truth. I can plant that seed and say, look, you're misinformed. You're not seeing the whole story. I know that people are not seeing the whole story because they're not all over the place like I am. Some people are, but a lot of people aren't as involved, and then they're just making these opinions and very misinformed. So I think that's where I step in. Secondly, I have become very involved in helping with the projects that are involved and crowdfunding and being involved in the live chats with Infinite Plane Society. It's not just one man, although he's done an extraordinary amount of work and organization and art and very brilliant, but it's a community. He has almost 7,000 subscribers, and many of them are very engaged, very active, and very happy. And there's a good dynamic in that live chat, and it's because of the way that the chat is run. And I agree with it.
So have you found, being that kind of empathic type, that you've had more attacks, i.e. you've had more of the psychotic type people actually target you as a result of your empathy towards others and their plight when they're being attacked?
I mean, I do. It's hard for me to, I see so many of the bigger voices and the bigger channels get attacked like horrendously. So it's hard for me to say that I get attacked really bad, because honestly, and hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me, but honestly, I've had it pretty easy, and I still come to the defense of other people, and I do get trolling. And I handle it different ways. It just depends on the day, but there's I don't know that it has anything to do with being empathic. I think the trolls, sometimes they might see that as a weakness, and that's fine, but I don't let that bother me. So sometimes I just kind of nip it in the bud and it doesn't continue.
Okay, well, we're straight into it then. We're into the main chunk of the conversation when we've mentioned the word trolls. And you and I, we've spoke about this before, so it's not like this is a new subject to us, but we've got very different attitudes towards the trolls. I don't know, who wants to go first? I think ladies first. What's your general attitudes towards the trolls and how to deal with them?
Well, now that I'm involved in YouTube channels and the whole YouTube side of Flat Earth is very different than what I originally was very, very involved in the Facebook groups, and I still am. So now I kind of split my worlds into two different areas. But because I think of my background in working in the groups, I do not, I can't stand, and I like I said earlier, I don't appreciate, and I will not allow trolls to come in and abuse my members. So I take on that responsibility. I made a video a couple months ago, and it was called Flat Earth Obligations, and I kind of went over what I feel our obligations are versus our responsibilities. And I'm really only obligated to myself. This experience is for me, in short. You guys want to listen to the video, it's on my channel. But when you start becoming a voice in the community and you're stepping up, and I know that there are under leaders, but if you're taking that leadership role, then you're taking on a responsibility. And so I've taken on a lot of responsibility. And I have a lot of members in a lot of my groups that I watch that I want. It's not that I can protect them all, because everyone's, responsible and obligated to themselves. However, if I can make that room a safe room, or that group a safe group, and keep the dynamic that I want in that group so that it runs properly and that people stay happy because that's the goal, then I'm going to do that. So I've kept that ideology as I've moderated live chats. I can't stand the abuse. It's no different than in real life. If you're being abused, the abuser isn't going to stop abusing you if you allow it to happen. Normally they get off on abusing you. So I want to stop it. And if I have the power to stop it, I will. I can't hear you.
Sorry, on mute.
There you
go. Sorry, would you say that the methodology behind Facebook is the same as the methodology on YouTube? Or to put it another way, would you say it works as well?
No. I mean, it was almost kind of a shock when I started getting into the YouTube side of everything, because, oh, I'm sorry, I heard a little echo. When I started getting into the YouTube side, you can block certain channels, but apparently, like, they can still comment and other people can see it. You just can't see it. I think that's how it works. So it's not like on Facebook where you just totally erase them and out of sight, out of mind. They never have to bother you again. You can realign yourself with better people, and that's not an influence on you anymore. With YouTube, it's a little bit more of a battle. And YouTube is so much more like it's so much harder to vet people. You can't look into their background, their history, what they like, what they don't like. You can't look at their pictures. You can't figure out what kind of person they are, like profile them. I know that sounds weird. But like with my Flat and Happy group, I have over 2,000 members now. And now I have a lot of help. But when I first started, I was doing all of that on my own. And I would look into those people's background. I'm sorry, if you're knocking on my door, on my gate, then I'm going to check out who you are, like a background check, before I allow you to come in and be with my family. And sometimes I still made mistakes, and guess what? You get a warning if it seems like a miscommunication, but if you come in abusing, you're out. There's no reason for you to be there. You're an adult. We're all humans. There's absolutely no reason for you to abuse other people. You don't get another chance. Sorry, you have to find another group.
And can they come back? I mean, is there a similar system where YouTube, as I understand it, will allow you to create about 10 accounts a day? Is Facebook similar? Can you? I don't know Facebook as well as you, obviously, so I don't know. Can you create fake accounts and just rejoin a group?
Yep, absolutely. And we have that all the time. I call them alt accounts. And some people have alternate accounts just for security reasons. I understand that. But I've dealt with a lot of people that have fake profiles, fake accounts. There are Facebook accounts out there that are for sale, that if you're a troll, they go out, they can buy a fake profile, and it comes with all kinds of pictures. It's probably one someone had for a couple years up until from 2006 to 2009, and then they just got rid of it. They can literally buy that. It looks like a whole history of a person, and then it's very hard to challenge that, and it's very hard to find out if they're fake or not.
Oh, right. That wasn't the answer I was expecting at all. I was expecting you to just say no. So, wow. So you can literally purchase an account of somebody who's technically non-existent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep,
I had
absolutely.
no idea. Oh, so it is more similar than I expected then.
Oh, there's a lot of deceit, a lot of fake accounts going on out there. And that's why, I'm involved in groups that are public. So it doesn't matter what you say on there. Your friends, family can see what you commented, and anybody can share anything that goes in there. But then any troll, any fake account, anybody can also go in there and use and abuse its members. And it's very hard to get things done. So you have people going in there, they're scrolling through, and every third or every second post is disgusting from a troll. It's very hard as a moderator to go through. All you're doing, you're not enjoying the group anymore. All you're doing is going through and you're getting rid of the trash. When if you ran a tight ship to begin with, you wouldn't have to worry about those people coming in. And it happens very, very little. So that's why my group that I made, the original group, Flat and Happy, is a closed group, and it will stay a closed group. Sometimes people wait at the gate for a while until I figure out if I trust you or not. And that's kind of the same thing that's going on with Infinite Plane Society. And I'm so glad I'm able to explain that right now, because I've tried to explain this to so many people that are on YouTube that aren't in Facebook groups. I'm like, do you understand that Facebook groups, some of them, a lot of them are run the same way? You ask permission to get in. If it's a closed group, you're not allowed to comment until you become a trusted member, you know? And a lot of people, they vet and they check out that profile before they allow you to come in. And they also have rules. We have a pinned set of rules that you read. If you don't abide by the rules and you do it often, you don't get to be a member anymore. You know, sorry, you don't get to participate anymore. Obviously, you didn't want to be there. So it's similar. It's just that nobody else has thought to run a YouTube channel that way.
You've led me nicely, because I'm going to clarify this for the audience first, which is to say that Infinite Plane Society's YouTube chat room has a very particular way of being run, which is to say that it is essentially a closed group. You are only allowed to comment if you have a blue wrench, and it's kind of become a bit of a meme as well. So there's blue wrench penguins and all sorts of other things that go on with the blue wrench idea. But in essence, it's just that. It's a closed group. If you come in and you say anything, the earth is flat, you'll get immediately banned. And then essentially, 99% of the time, it actually says on screen that will happen, but people just don't read. They just go straight into the chat because they're more interested in the chat than what's on screen, which is fair enough. But yeah, so they don't read the warning that they will immediately be banned, which is frankly a bigger pain in the ass than it's worth, because if you ban somebody, you then have to go through a whole load of hoops to unban them. So it's quite a rigmarole to actually ban them. But that's how he set it up. It's the most extreme way I've ever seen it done. So let's start there. I mean, how do you think that goes down for you? You've got a blue wrench. For an audience member who's just watching and maybe not chatting, or more importantly, and most importantly for this subject, the guy who hasn't got a wrench does want to chat and immediately gets banned. Right. So let's start with, how do you feel about that particular room?
Well, first of all, I'll say we live in a society that's very apathetic, and there are very easy ways that they can fix their problems or fix their issues and come to a positive conclusion, that they don't take that first step or they don't take the initiative. So if they come into Infinite Plane Society and they don't have a wrench, first of all, it's their responsibility to read the rules. And if they don't know what's going on, that's fine. They can listen to the show later, and then they will know. But so many of these people get so offended because they get blocked, like it's something like personal, and it's a miscommunication. They're misinformed, when all they have to do is take the initiative and do what the rules are implying and suggesting, is just email him and you will get back in if you want to participate. Not everybody has to participate. That's fine. But don't be upset when someone doesn't want to run their live chat the way everyone else does. I've been in other live chats, and a lot of them so far that I've been in have very good moderators, and we do a very good job of keeping the trolls out. However, you can have 10 moderators in there and have a bunch of trolls attacking, and guess what? Those 10 moderators don't get to appreciate or take part in the conversation, or add anything to the conversation, because sometimes you're just completely wrapped up in taking care of the disrespectful, immature humans called trolls that are going in there and just saying the most vulgar things with the most vulgar names, like a little child, and it takes away from the group. This happened the other day, and I'm sure that Patricia will not mind me saying this, on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. It was the Secret Show with Mark Sargent. You were there, Nathan.
I was going to come to this anyway, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, it kind of explained the reason why this works so well is that now I understand it's a lot of work. It is a ton of work to vet all your members, but in the end, it is worth it. But luckily, enough of the moderators were able to take care of the situation. But during the live chat, it was probably one person with 20 different profiles on YouTube or YouTube channels, and they got in there and spammed like 10 messages that were absolutely disgusting, vulgar. It was vulgar names. You know, they called themselves a vulgar name, so no matter what, you had to read that because that the name stayed there even once the comments were deleted. And it took up, I don't know how much time it was, maybe a half hour, 40 minutes of the chat, where now all of a sudden myself and all the other moderators, we couldn't pay attention to what was being said. It was a one-track mind. We just had to worry about these insecure trolls in there just blasting disgusting profanity. And I guarantee, had we not got rid of them, they would have just kept doing it. And then you're seeing that. It's no different than seeing programming and something that's brainwashing you on TV. You have no choice but to read that profanity and that disgustingness, and it is impacting every person in that live chat. It completely changed the dynamic of the chat. It was a huge downer. So it just, to me, it doesn't need to happen. So it's okay that somebody has their YouTube live chat that way because it doesn't happen all the time. But I think what Infinite Plane Society is doing is that he doesn't want that immatureness. He doesn't want that distraction. You know, it's a think tank. It's not a live chat to just go in and say, hey, hi everybody, even though everyone's very happy. It's to share ideas and so that everyone can actually read it. I hope that makes sense.
It makes total sense, and I agree with you completely. You know, you're right in everything you're saying, because what you're saying is sentiments about how it makes people feel, how it disturbs the chat, and you've summed it up beautifully. The problem is that there was two instances actually in Flat Earth and a Hot Potato, so I'm afraid she's going to get lots of plugs in this particular show, but that's just the way it goes.
That's right.
The first instance, I know exactly who it was, because it was Tim Osman. He came in under Tim Osman and immediately got banned, and then proceeded to spam the chat saying, I wouldn't be spamming if you hadn't banned me. That wasn't what he said. It was, I'm paraphrasing, but pretty much that's what he was saying. And I politely asked the troll to stop and got a message from Tim Osman, and he was very clear. He said, look, that was me. I won't say whose name he came in under. I don't want to give him any publicity unnecessarily. But he came under a known person's name repeatedly. So he's probably got 20, 30, 40 accounts under one person's name. So he can just keep coming back again and again and again. The point being that in that instance, I did actually manage to stop the trolling just by asking. And then because I've got to know these assholes, you know, I'm going to describe them like they are. They are assholes. That's what they are. But I've got to know them on a level where at least I can plead with them. And the reason I plead with them is because there is no other way to stop them if they've got 500 accounts. Now, again, a little bit of credit where it's due to Tim Osman. He did take responsibility and say, that's me, but I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, blah, blah, blah. My little violin plays for him. And nevertheless, he's appealing to people by saying, look, I am trying, so please don't just immediately ban me, otherwise I'm going to revert to type. That's kind of what he's saying. And for the sake of a little bit of sanity, I'm more than happy to kind of go along with that for the most part and say, okay, you know, we'll see, time will tell. It's not the first time you've said this. But on the other hand, so far, so good to a degree, until someone bans him without him actually saying anything nasty. Now, that's the first instance. The second instance, I've blamed David Quintana. I've told him this, and he just continually says I've only got one account, which is Cigarface. He's given me a yarn about him only having this one account and them taking all the others off him. How true that is, a few people confirm it. I don't know whether or not that's true. And when I say, well, it's the kind of thing you would say, he says, well, yes, I do say those words. Again, I won't repeat them, that were typed repeatedly for the rest of the show into Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes chat. In other words, we were left in a position where we didn't get any more chat out of that show. You know, the show continued. I think it was it with Hangnail? I think it was with Hangnail. I can't remember who the show was with. But the rest of the show for the chat participants was ruined. And there was nothing
Yeah.
anybody could do about it. You banning them didn't do anything. Me appealing didn't do anything. It was like lose-lose. That person had decided on that day they were going to destroy that chat. I don't know why. I'd love to just find out who it was and just ask. And again, just try and appeal to them and say, well, look, is it because you're... I'll get to my point. I'm waffling quite a lot now. Sorry, Carly. My point is that there's a lot of people out there who want to be part of the chat. And for whatever reason, either because they're vehemently against it, and for me personally, I'm not going to get too much into this, but I think they should be allowed to have their say, or they're not vehemently against it, but they've just said something that would be considered naysaying, and then they've been banned. You know, I would fit into that category 2 years ago. But in other words, there's only, I'm going to round this out with something succinct. There's only two different types of people. The first is the guy like Tim Osman or David Quintana, of late maybe or maybe not, that can create as many accounts as they need. Gem Panda also sits in this category. They can knock up 10 accounts a day just to troll people. And there's no point in banning that particular character because you ban them and they just come back. The other type of person is me. You know, I've got effectively one account. And once that account is banned, I'm not going to create another account just to go back and chat. It's like, if you don't want me here, goodbye. You know, and I don't want to lose the guy who's a naysayer. I don't want to lose the guy who's vehemently against it, because to me, you know, I'm strong in my belief and I'm more than happy to keep banging the same drum to those people. And at some stage, you and me and Mark Sargent were all globe-believing globeheads. So we can't. I don't know. I don't want to start making assertions. I'll actually, let's give you a question to go with. So what do you? That's next part of the question, I suppose. What do you feel about that guy or girl that's like me, got one account, gets banned, and just doesn't go back?
Well, I would like to comment on the Tim Osman thing and that all first, because I have a couple thoughts, and then I'll go back to that. First off, Tim Osman wasn't getting banned because he's a globe believer. Tim Osman gets banned because he has a history of disrespecting other humans and abusing other humans. So he has created that for himself. So when he came into Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes the other day, and he was banned immediately, that was a consequence of his actions in the past. He needs to take the initiative and be a respectful human. If he wants to actually be a part of the Flat Earth community now, if he's turning over a new leaf, then there are other ways to get a hold of people that are doing live chats and get a hold of them when it's not a live chat and not distracting, and apologize, talk to them. Those are the respectful, responsible ways that you make amends. You don't go in and throw a temper tantrum when you get banned because of your history. And then you also don't burn the bridge again and spam a bunch of ridiculous, vulgar things. Who does that? A 5-year-old, you know?
But you're wrong. Sorry to be so blunt. You're wrong.
That's okay,
because he does do those things. That's precisely what he does do. Whether you like it or not, whether it's right or wrong, that's what he does.
He apologizes?
No. Hell no. Sorry. No. Not the apologising bit. The trolling, the saying the vicious things. So, like I said, he got banned, and then he went, right, well, I'll troll the living crap out of you then. Because he can. So, what I'm saying is, I'm coming from the angle that he's putting out there that I'm trying. You know, I'm tossing you guys a bone. And your opinion is, no, you've got to come to me with sincere apologies. His attitude is, why the hell should I? I don't have to do anything. But I can also troll the living crap out of you continually, you know, as well. So that's the position we're left in. I think it's intentional. I think Google like it this way.
Well, I'm just saying that your actions speak louder than your words. If he's saying that he's really trying, he's not.
Well, he's not even saying that. He has
so many more opportunities to actually try.
He just kind of is here. I'm putting words in his mouth. I'm sure if he was in the chat right now, he'd say, I'm not trying, I don't care, or whatever. But I'm putting a veneer on what he's actually doing and saying he is trolling a bit less. You know, he'll just come in and say hello. I think when he came in and got banned, he said something like, I'm Tim Osman and I have no fear. And he got banned. And you think, for me, my heart sank immediately when I found out that was the case, because you think, okay, he could come in and say profanity. He could come in and be extremely abusive. He could come in, as he has done in the past, which is why I can't really disagree with you, and dox Patricia, which is what he's done. And when I confront him about it, he says she doxed herself. And it's like, okay, I understand what doxing means. No need to patronise or condescend to me. I understand how you've got her documents, but you've still published them in her chat. It's outrageous. It doesn't matter how you dice up the doxing thing, it still happened. So therefore, I could completely and entirely agree with you and side with you and go, yeah, he deserves to be immediately banned on site. However, he'll just come back and then potentially ruin the chat for the rest of the show.
Well, in those sorts of cases, you can't give up. You can't not fight back, and okay, so if we have to tiptoe around trolls like himself, then they win, and I'm not okay with that.
I mean, there is no right answer here, because you're right.
Right. That's just my opinion.
I've contemplated this for hours and days and weeks and months and years. Ultimately speaking, you can't win. So it's down to the system, and we are in a psychopathic system. This is Google. They want the discord, they want the drama. That's what they're going to promote. So if in our chat now we had a load of drama and we had to address it, that would be part of the drama of this show, and that would get us better ratings, get people talking about it more. It's sad, because ultimately we just want to talk about the much more dramatic reality that the Earth is flat. Paradigm shifting, the biggest deception in mankind's history. And what are we talking about? Some guy saying cum farts in the chat. It's just ridiculous. That's not what this is about for me. But that's what you do end up doing. But you're right, you can't win, and is admitting defeat.
I think you can win, though. See, I see it as a win every time we stop them from abusing the chat. Every time we stop them from distracting someone else, it's a little win each time, and it adds up, I think. I don't see it as losing just because that same person comes back and tries again. I see it as winning because we stopped that from happening.
Yeah, I can't disagree again. You're right on every instance. It's a shame. There's things that could be done about it. It was the same with sniping. Getting around it with OBS and me having to constantly flick between cameras. I've just got both of us up now because I'm getting lazy. But that was completely sorted in Google Plus. But ultimately speaking, if I decided now to just throw the chat link in, people could jump in and snipe us. That's not an issue on Skype. So you get around a trolley issue that could so easily be solved with just one line of code by Google. But they don't want that. It seems they want the discord, they want the controversy, they want the trolls.
Yeah, unfortunately, society feeds off of aggression and the drama. It's a huge distraction. That should be part of why flat Earth and learning that the Earth is flat and not a lie, that is a big part of what should be changing us as humans. I mean, in the tiny little battles we win in live chats with people that act like those trolls, we're trying to change the way humanity is. We should not treat each other that way. And so many of us, all of us have been programmed the same way. We've all been influenced the same way to treat each other the same way. It's disgusting. We don't have a shred left of how we're supposed to treat each other. And that is an uphill battle. That is, for me, that's one of the most important reasons why this flat Earth truth needs to come out and needs to be exposed. And trolls and the people that abuse us in the comments and in the live chats are an example of that. There's just no reason why a human should treat another human that way. There's no reason why an adult should treat another adult that way.
There is no reason, but the reason it happens is because of the million miles of fibre that are between them and you or whoever. So you can... I used to do this in the 90s and early 2000s when I was dating from the internet, and the amount of times you would chat to somebody and they would be a completely different person when you actually got to meet them. And I think that's so true in the flat Earth meets that I've done. You get to meet people, and they are absolutely nothing like what their online persona is like. It's difficult to keep your online persona akin to what is actually me or you sat there if the cameras weren't on. That's incredibly difficult. Right. It gets easier as time goes by, but ultimately speaking, you're not your online persona, no matter which way, no matter how raw it is. Tim Osman is not that guy in those photographs. He is a completely different person in real life. And me too, if you want to look at it in that vein, you too.
And I'm the same way.
Miles of fiber, you can get away with anything.
Right. I'm the same way. I'm not the same person that I am. I mean, I feel the same way when I'm talking, but I'm not the same person in real life. I'm a little bit more edgy and gritty, and I try to control myself when I'm talking. I try to talk respectfully when I'm on here, and but still, no matter what, there's no excuse. Where it's still, we need to continuously learn how to respect each other.
Okay, well, what about the other extreme? Because, I mean, although it's in smaller numbers, Validation Boy has got the opposite end of the scale. So his chat is completely and totally unmoderated. I don't know if you've ever been in Validation Boy's chat or not. Okay, I mean, it's the Troll Festival.
Have been.
No, it's fair enough. It's not for everybody, I won't lie. But yeah, at least my, 12th favourite show, easily. But anyway, so you've got Validation Boy's live chat and his show. They tend to be polite. It was very similar to when Tim Osman started his live stream. So when Tim Osman first started doing an actual live stream, anyone could go in the chat, and it was generally fairly civil. You'd see the worst of all trolls, and you just went in and said hello to them. And initially, if you still had to have a thick skin, they'd throw the abuse at you. But after 5 minutes, if there was no Mexican standoff, there's no wrenches at dawn, there's no point where either of you have actually got any more power than the other. And at some stage, it just kind of fades away, and you just end up chatting with these people. And a lot of them, I've got to know them. Again, I won't say I like them, but I've got to know them through actually being able to chat with them without the vitriol. And that's thanks to Validation Boy, and for the most part, because he doesn't have any wrenches. So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about no moderation?
Well, like I said, I've never been in the live chat, and just to let everyone know, I've grown up as someone that I don't judge others. Growing up, I had friends that were like the guys with the long trench coats and the tattoos and the piercings everywhere, and like the people that everyone else thought was scary. I don't judge people that way. And I've grown up, working with I've worked at a chrome shop where I sold truck parts, and I was working with all truck drivers, just like gritty, tough men, and I still got along with them. It doesn't matter who you are or your personality when it comes to things like that. I guarantee that if I could sit down with some of these guys that are doing the trolling, and girls, if there's girls doing it, that they would probably like me in real life, But again, I go back to the fact that just because you're online doesn't mean you have an excuse to act disgusting and different than that, I just don't understand it. I think that it's just kind of like there's no accountability, so they just kind of run amok,
Yeah, I agree.
I don't.
But there is no accountability in YouTube, regardless of whether or not we ban anybody. This is the problem. So it seems
you
like
should be accountable for yourself.
Yeah.
People should know what's right or what's wrong.
I'm being really harsh because I'm kind of doing away with anything that's idealistic in terms of morals. Because no matter how moralistic I want to be in this regard, YouTube just don't allow it. They just don't seem to want there to be any decency in YouTube. They just want it to be a complete crap fest. I
get it. It's like they want it to just be a live version of the filth and the media that's on TV. I get it. They're just allowing humans to become what they're being programmed with on the TV. I get it. It doesn't make it right,
No.
Break free from it.
I mean, this is part of perhaps a problem going forward in terms of, if you come back to the flat Earth sign, that got media coverage. But from what I saw, it was like people asking noob questions that got really terrible answers and elicited globe responses from people. Maybe that's what generated the kind of, oh no, it's going to lead people down a controlled opposition route if they just see the words research flat earth, because of what was presented by the newscasters that had actually gone out and interviewed people on the streets. And from experience, they're going to interview 50 people till they get the right answer, till they get what they're looking for, and then they'll publish that because they want to push a certain narrative. And we're in this corner, trapped by that kind of filth. That's going to stick no matter what we do. That's here to stay, is what I'm saying.
But you know what? If we put up a billboard and the media doesn't cover it the way we were expecting to, because it never will, they're going to cover what sounds juicy and what's going to get the people's attention, and what might be negative because people feed off of that. We just keep trying. You just keep trying until we get positive results. We don't stop. I mean, we knew this going into this, and if everybody out there didn't understand that this flat Earth wasn't going to be on the media in a positive light for a while until we keep trying, it's because people don't understand it. So we just keep trying.
I said it has definitely got media attention. I mean, there's lots of people out there that say, it's going nowhere, it's tiny. And you think, well, no. In the last 6 months, there's been big name basketball players that have come out talking about it. And you see Shaq, and Shaq does now appear to be their way of controlling the narrative. A few basketball players, Kyrie Irving comes out and says it off the cuff. They need to quickly get control of that narrative, which is what they did with Shaq. That seemed to be how they controlled it. But the reality of that situation, in my view, was that people are pretty uncontrollable. They will just blurt stuff out. And then how many more people do they have to keep control of and go to the extent that they did with Shaq to control the narrative? If there's constant news reports about this subject, you can't control it all, is what I'm getting at. And maybe that's the point we've got to take it to. If we stay in the filthy, dirty media section, internet, whatever you want to call it, that we're in, because it is pretty filthy around here.
Right. Well, I think that's also why it's wonderful that people are starting to be motivated to branch out and do different things. They're going out there and they're making music and they're making art that's exposing the truth, and they're doing live streaming where they're going out on the streets and they're talking to people. People are doing art shows, and there's just different things that are getting exposure instead of just one echo chamber. Just YouTube videos, which I think the YouTube videos are amazing, but a lot of people make fun of it and say that just because it's a YouTube video doesn't mean it's true. Whatever. It's just a documentation of someone's observations or experiments, but people don't get that. So I think that we are branching out and doing new things. I mean, think about where we were last year and even in 2015. It's changed drastically, and I think we're going to start seeing it snowball and see a tipping point real soon. I mean, more and more keeps happening, and I'm like, well, man, what's going to happen next? Like, what's going to be the next big thing that comes out? And it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know what went on when Shaq came out and said, yeah, he believed the earth was flat, and he had this whole little spiel that he said. Did he really just blurt it out because he was researching and he thought, well, maybe that is right? Or was he controlled and someone said, you know what, Kyrie Irving's saying this, I want you to go out and say it and then recant it so that they'll pay attention to you and not Kyrie Irving? We could say anything we want and guess what happened, but we have no idea. We have no evidence, no proof. All we know is that it happened, and we deal with it and we move on,
The only thing for certain is that it definitely gets ridiculed in the mainstream media, whenever there's attention drawn to it. But you said this right at the beginning in terms of Obama. Him saying we don't have time for a meeting at the Flat Earth Society will have had people looking into it. And the Flat Earth Society itself, when I was introduced to Joey Rocha, he came to Flat Earth through the Flat Earth Society. He's out in Hawaii, and he's like, oh yeah, Flat Earth Society, man, they rule. And kind of we're all looking at each other going, is this guy a shill? Not that we actually said that, but you know what I mean? That's the kind of thoughts that you have when someone's giving endorsement to the Flat Earth Society. And presently, I heard a whisper somebody saying recently, it might have even been IPS, that there was actually a Flat Earth Society guy doing the rounds at the moment. I'll have to look into that a little bit. But it does kind of beg the question: why isn't he? Why isn't he kind of here? Why isn't he interacting with any of us? It does make you wonder when they're the top search result, literally, and it's exploding in the YouTube corners of our tiny little dark corner that I've just said is tiny. But yeah, there's a lot of activity that they're not involved in, is what I'm saying.
I think you'd be surprised how many people are out there looking into it and they might not be into YouTube. They're looking at it different ways, even if it is on the internet. I think that guy you're talking about, I think there was a gentleman that was found. He had like his van painted up, or almost like a traveling billboard. I think that guy might have had Flat Earth Society on the side of his van or something like that. And but either way, people will come to the truth from all different directions, and whatever resonates with them, they follow that. And some people will go the right way, some people will go the wrong way. We cannot control that. We can only just influence it a little bit and share what we think is right. I mean, there's just so many avenues. But that's why I kind of think it's nice that we have many different people right now stepping up and trying to organize the school of fish to swim in the same direction and get, bands of us moving towards certain projects. Instead of everyone just kind of going their separate ways.
That's a much more positive thing to talk about. So what are the things that are currently inspiring you? Because I know there's lots of activity that you get your hands dirty with. We've talked about one already, but what's making you excited currently? Just so we round out on a bit more of a positive note. We're coming up on an hour. I don't know how long you've got, but...
Well, I do have company coming over, so I can say the last couple things and then maybe closing remarks. Well, on top of being involved in everything that's on Facebook, I understand a lot of people don't like Facebook because it's a lot of drama. Well, it seems to be everywhere, but you can use the Facebook groups for a lot of good, and you can influence a lot of people, and you can totally block out the stuff you don't care about. You gotta eliminate that. On top of what's going on with groups and all the groups growing, there are many different things that are being organized, and I'm going to mention it because this group is the group that's been stepping forward and motivating people to work on these projects, and that's the Infinite Plains Society, where we talked about the first billboard that went up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I think there are about a half a dozen other billboards that are in the works to go up. There was another one that went up, I think it was in Oklahoma. I'm trying to keep my billboards straight in my head. Tulsa, maybe, Oklahoma, or I can't remember. But it was organized by a Facebook group called the Flat Club. That one is up, and I think that one's running for 4 weeks. So that is currently still going. And it says, is the Earth flat? And has a picture, a CGI image, and then it has a real picture of the flat horizon from a high-altitude weather balloon. There's a couple more billboards that are going to be placed soon. There is a billboard going to be going up in North Carolina, close to where the Flat Earth Conference will be in Raleigh, North Carolina. That one, I think they're hoping to have that run 2 months. That's being organized by DITRH, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and ODD TV. And it's going to say something like the Stranger's Guide to 21 Questions Flat Earth. Very excited about that one because I'm hoping that it does run all the way through the conference. And I was talking to David the other day, and I'm hoping that we can organize some kind of event around the billboard, like a massive picture or something. So we'll see if that gets to happen. There's also a art show going to be coming up in July. It's all going to be Flat Earth related. There is a fortune cookie campaign going on through Infinite Plains Society.
Oh, that's a new one on me. Fortune cookie? What's that one? That one's new on me, sorry.
Yeah, he ordered I think it was like 500 fortune cookies, and he's selling them like 20 or 25 at a time. And inside the fortune cookie, the fortunes say like research Flat Earth, or the Earth is not a spinning ball, or something like that. Yeah. And so people are buying these and then just like handing them out to family members, or I think it's genius. It's just it's one of those little things that somebody somewhere down the road, 5 years from now, someone's standing up at a podium talking about Flat Earth to a bunch of college students going to say when I first heard about flat Earth because I got this fortune cookie and it said research flat Earth, and I went and researched it. You just don't know what that will spark. Um, we've had talks about doing, and this is kind of hilarious, doing a 5K run or walk for the cure for globitis, which is
Yeah, this I have
so
heard of.
funny.
So part of hashtag Globe Exit. Why
Yeah,
not? People love to sponsor good, good campaigns, fun
heck yeah.
runs, Race for Life,
Even
and all
if they
that kind of
don't
stuff.
sponsor it, even if they don't sponsor it, just being able to explain to them why is going to be hilarious, and it's just another way to plant a seed. Plus, it might be fun to walk slash run with a bunch of other flat earthers.
Yeah, the
We
problem is a
also
lot of
have the
the runners might come down with globuria.
global. uh, so I think that what you're talking about is over at the Daily Plain. The dailyplane.com is a website. They have an article in there. It's called the Flat Earth Lexicon, and it's a bunch of different terms that the live chat over in Infinite Plane Society has come up with, like globaria or globitis, globe exit, like different funny terms. Uh, and they're making like this whole lexicon where it's going to be, I think they're going to publish it as a book. It's genius. And you know what? It's fun.
Just
It's,
nice little things
it's
like that,
catchy.
and I like the
Yeah.
fact that IPS is actually encouraging people to be a bit more commercial, because that's how this
Mhm.
gains a bit more traction. If you've got
Right.
fortune cookies and mugs and T-shirts,
Right.
then people are going to read
Everyone's,
those slogans. That's
yeah.
what it's all about for me.
You know what? Whenever I go anywhere, like if I travel, I make it a goal to buy something, a hat, a koozie for my beer. Sorry, koozie, that says something on it from where I've gone, a t-shirt. I buy jewelry. I buy stuff from places I go because that is all a happy memory from some fun experience. And why not be able to purchase something that starts a conversation up about the flat earth truth? I think it's ridiculous that people say you shouldn't be making money on it. I'm making money right now where I work for someone else, and it's a big corporation. It I call it my slave job. Why not work really hard at what you're doing to share the truth, even if it is a little trinket like a mug or a T-shirt. It's going to spark a conversation, and it's going to plant a seed and share truth with someone else. I have absolutely no problem with that. You're not taking advantage of people. You're not making them buy it. They're buying it because they appreciate it. So anyway, there's going to be this art show in July. I said about the fortune cookies. There's also this rocket launch, which is going to be in August, the first rocket launch with Mad Mike Hughes. I actually did a little video log on Mad Mike Hughes. So if you guys, go to my channel, subscribe if you like the content. But I have a video on there all about what's going on with Mad Mike Hughes, who is the flat Earth rocket scientist who is going to be breaking a record in August, sending a steam rocket. I think he's going to try to go a mile, and it's going to be manned. He's going to be inside of it, and we are raising money right now to have it say research flat Earth on the side. And it's going to cause quite a stir and have a lot of media coverage. So those are the exciting things coming up, and it just changes every day. People are coming up with new ideas. Some of the music that's coming out right now, like Spiritual North and Isa Mohalski. I don't know if I said his name right, but some of the music that's coming out right now is just amazing. The flat Earth music. There's so many creative people, so much talent. I'm getting involved in this because this is the positive, this is the happy, this is like the motivated portion right now of people that are moving in the direction where I want to go as far as making things happen. And I love
Yeah,
it.
Issa Mahal.
Peace and Mahal. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I'm glad he got a plug, because you're right. His
Yeah.
music's really good. He did a little, almost like a skit. It was obviously still a song, but about the debacle between Mick West and Anthony
Yes.
Riley. Oh Mick West, you tried your best. Just
Yeah.
just of the moment stuff that you tune into it, and it's just like, oh, this is really good. And that's another thing that IPS has been doing, and that is something that I want to give big props to him, which is he promotes other people. He's not out there saying, don't go and watch that person, they're a complete shill. don't go and watch that person, they're a CIA. Don't go and watch this
Yep.
person, they're a tranny. He goes, watch this
Yeah.
person, they've got excellent content. Go and subscribe to this person's channel, they're brilliant. Listen to this person's song. Let's go and talk to this person. Let's go and leave comments on that person's video. You think that's what will get more people, more publicity. That's what makes the snowball get bigger. Whereas when you have people that come along and just want to kick the crap out of the snowball, say, no, because I've got a better snowball that I'm starting over here. It's like, oh, for the love of God, it's just one subject. It's just 2 words. It's just flat Earth.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why research flat Earth was it resonated with me so much, because it's so simple. I know you've got to get on, so I'm gonna ask you just one more thing before we round out, which is to explain. And you've done this you've got a whole video dedicated to this subject, which is, what is FEPE?
Oh. So if you haven't heard yet, there's this big debacle and controversy about this penguin cartoon, and we've named it FEPE. And I also have a video about that on my channel, so if you have more questions. But FEPE is making fun of or mocking a frog meme called Pepe. You've probably seen the frog. It's got like bulgy, ugly eyes. And it's an alt-right meme. So we are mocking it, and we created a penguin that looks very similar, and it's called FEPE. And FEPE stands for Flat Earth People Everywhere. So people have been teasing and making fun of this, but they have, again, they're misinformed. They have no idea what it stands for. And why not? Why not have, and I said this in my video, there's so much symbology, numbers, words, colors, shapes out there that have been stolen from us, and they're being used for something evil and nefarious, and then we're not allowed to use them anymore. So why not start making our own symbols and using our own symbology and our own titles to mean something positive? And it's fun. It's encouraging. Flat Earth people everywhere. That's what FEPE is.
And what is he? An animal, or what? What's the deal?
Oh yes, he's a penguin. He's an emperor penguin. And the reason why they chose a penguin, or we chose a penguin, is because penguins live in Antarctica. So it's like they're surrounding the flat Earth. You know, I just think it's brilliant.
It's an acronym,
clever.
so it's Flat Earth People Everywhere, and it's an emperor penguin. But I hear he's got a right-angled triangle as a beak. Illuminati confirmed?
Oh my gosh, confirmed.
Yeah, but you've kind of said this already, which is that you're taking ownership of some of this stuff. And again, I know we've talked about IPS a lot on this show, but IPS gets a lot of stick because he's making fun of this stuff. So he'll put literally an Illuminati symbol on his top intentionally, and then go on camera just for people to come along and go, look, Illuminati confirmed. So again, you roll your eyes. I'm sure he has a little chuckle, but I don't know. Is it taking ownership? How can I phrase this so keep it even-handed? Is he a shill, or is he, as I've just described, just taking the piss?
I mean, I think you're poking the bear a little bit when you do stuff like that. But like one of my recent videos, I get right on there and say I'm an agent, you know, and because I've been given the title from other people saying that I'm a shill, I'm a troll, and that I'm an agent, disinfo agent. Okay, well, and then I go through like the explanation of what an agent is, and I say that I'm an agent of truth. You know, it's just you're taking the power away from that negative thought or that negative title. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, and they talk about...
You say nothing more, nothing less, but it has evolved into something a little bit more...
People are triggered.
Because
people are so triggered
I've even had
about
someone
it.
in
But
the chat, they've say, Nathan, go and watch the Santa versus Emperor Penguin. What are these guys talking about? I don't get it.
oh, there is a video out now. I think ODD actually made it, and I believe IPS and Mark Sargent mirrored the video, and it's some kind of video game generator. It's like a war thing, and it's literally like a little music video, and it's like millions of penguins coming across the tundra, and then they're fighting Santas. It's ridiculous. It was just something I think made like, you know, late at night, but it's hilarious. So that's what I think it's genius.
I think it's genius because the penguins, number one, they're real. Yeah. Number two, they're a mascot. You know, I know IPS is even looking to sponsor a penguin, although there was a lot of glow programming attached to that sponsorship. So whether or not it'll do that, we'll see. But you know, it's a mascot. The emperor penguin is now a mascot of the Infinite Plane Society, which is wonderful. It's got a meme with the Fepe, and like I say, it's real. Santa Claus, on the other hand, on TV, they're talking about Santa all the time. My niece was told to go outside and watch the ISS go past when it was Christmas time, and they were told to lie to her. The TV told them, go outside and lie to your children about Santa. Well, the penguin was victorious. You know, it was a bit bloody. But ultimately, it does have a good point. You know, Santa isn't real. The whole thing isn't real. It's just a war simulator, as you put it. But the message is very real, I think.
Well, I'm not a fan of like blood and gore, and really neither is IPS, because he's said things about some of the the chat parties that we're involved in were with video games, and they were very gory and violent. But it's not real, and it's just symbolizing the fact that the penguins are killing off the lie. You know, that's simple. Santa was the lie, and they're winning.
They sure were, from what I saw. I won't lie, I did see. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. It was funny.
Was there anything that you wanted to plug, or have you got anything coming up in the pipeline, videos and such, that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, I don't have any video logs specifically. I actually was kind of rolling around in my head about doing something like this on the trolling and really kind of get it off my chest, but this kind of remedied it, so I appreciate the chance to go on here and talk. I don't have any interviews or shows coming up here, but that could always change. I'm just going to consistently keep on doing the video logs and the content videos as I can, and just continue to be more involved. And then, of course, I'm just continuing to try to up my game and prepare myself because of the conference. The Flat Earth International Conference is coming up here in November. So.
Is that something you wanted to talk about, or have you got to get off?
I do have to probably get going. Can I share like my channels and stuff?
Of course you can, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in no rush. I'm just conscious that you've got. I know you said you wanted about an hour, and we're already about an hour and 10. So I'm conscious that I know you've got to get off shortly because you've got guests arriving. But yeah, plug away. If there's stuff that you do want to plug while you're on here, get it all in while you can.
Okay. Well, if you guys are interested in joining a closed group on Facebook, I run a group called Flat and Happy. But like I said earlier, I vet people, and sometimes they wait a little while so they can get in. So private message me, and then I'll know who you are, and I'll let you in sooner. I also have a YouTube channel. It's just called Carly Sunshine. Nathan will probably link it here. And if you like my content, please subscribe. I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Skype as well. It's Carly Sunshine FE, and that's my Skype channel.
Very cool, very cool. Wicked. Well, I'm going to say a thank you to you. I will say my hellos and stuff to the people in the chat, but in the meantime, I'm going to say a massive, massive thank you to you, Carly, for coming on and talking about quite an awkward subject, which is trolls and trolling. But I think we've got a few things out there, which is hopefully positive. We shall see. Yes, thank you very much for being here, Carly Sunshine. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure of mine as well.
Cool. All right. I will see Carly later, and in the meantime, I'm going to actually go to the chat and have a bit of a chat with some of the people in there, say hello, and see how you've all been enjoying the show. So, hello, No One's Flower, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see if I can actually bring up the chat while I'm doing this. I don't normally chat to the chat, but I'm now doing this with OBS. It is a lot easier to interact with some of the audience, so why the hell not? So, Dale Ohio, former guest, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Ukdina Walker, one of my absolute favourites. Very pleased to see you here. Ace McLeod, always a pleasure. What else have we got? Let's scroll up through the chat. I've seen you all chatting away very politely. Absolutely no spamming. I can't quite believe that happened on this show. I thought there'd be a bucket load of spam. Validation Boy, hello, how you doing? Ginger Sugarbush 905. Very pleased to see you here. That Physics Warrior. Sugarbush, what's he saying? That was a cool video. Don't know what they're talking about. Hopefully something very Flat Earth related. Dick Tripping Balls, pleased to see you here too. Alex. Can find any interesting conversations that I can interject with. See something going on earlier. Maybe not. I hope that's probably about it. Hey, Martin Liedke. Actually, I'm going to give a bit of a plug to Martin. I've been meaning to do this for a very long time because I occasionally will make adverts for people. And like Carly Sunshine, Martin has massively upped his game recently. I'm going to stick a link in either the description box or in a comment after the videos are loaded to Martin Liedke's channel. But I'm completely hooked on Martin's channel at the moment. It is fantastic. So he's covered all of the current stuff that's going on in London, the fires. Martin's on it. You know, he's really, really on it, doing some really excellent research. And it's compelling stuff. And like Carly again, he's really upped his game in terms of his presentation. He's got intro screens that run. He's just paying a bit more attention to detail. The other thing that he's got is Screencast-O-Matic, I think it's called, just screen capturing software. And for Martin, it's transformed the type of videos he's got. And he's one of those YouTubers that you see him with, whatever it is, just shy of a couple of thousand subs, and you think, why hasn't he got a lot more? So yeah, I will stick a link, obviously, to Carly Sunshine first and foremost, who is a wonderful guest. I'm sure you'll all agree. I can leave your comments. I'll read a few out. But yeah, you know, Carly, fantastic. So pleased we got that conversation in today, actually. I've been meaning to chat about trolls and trolling for quite some time. But also, like I say, Martin is in the chat chatting away. Saying how much he loves Ugdina, as he does. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to him because it's one way you'll keep up with a lot of the current affairs that I simply don't get because I don't watch TV. And Martin's very even-handed in terms of how he puts it across. He gets accused of being conspiratorial, but I just don't think it's the case. So yes, subscribe to Martin. Got a message to see if it's anything. I think. Steer says she's been blocked in my chat, so I'll sort that out after the show's rounded out. Okay, I think that's pretty much it from me. I'm going to round out this show here. So thank you very much to everybody who has joined me live. It's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure to share the show, comment below. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.